Something happened. So we are live. Welcome to the Greatness Engineering Hour show, the show where we bring you all the greatness engineers and also champions that are making a difference around the world. And today it's not going to be different from the previous episodes. We have an amazing lady with us, and we've got to focus our discussion on narcissism. And she actually wrote a book about the subject, and we're going to discover everything about this subject today, especially the healing process of coming out of a narcissistic relationship, and also, try to know how we can, identify this before we get into the trauma and really avoid that it goes to a level where we destruct. I mean, we start to be completely uncomfortable and really, have a very traumatic experience that we can't recover from. So today we have Dr. Bindu Babu. She's a successful integrative physician, a celebrity, a transformational coach. She's been awarded New York Most Powerful Woman in Business 2019, and she's also a Goodwill Ambassador in the US and a Global Peace Chain Ambassador. She's part of the Female Wave of Change organization, and she's doing some amazing work around the world. So I'm not gonna, enumerate everything. I'll just give her the chance to introduce herself to the audience and really, start to engage and educate us about the subject of narcissism today. So for those who are joining us just now, please let us know where you are watching from. Don't forget to like, to share, because this knowledge needs to travel through your network. We bringing expert here for you to get the knowledge, but we really want you to share, and most of all, we want you to be able to implement it into your environment, into your community. So we're gonna start the conversation, and please don't go anywhere. Make sure you have your notebook and your pen, because there's gonna be a lot of learning today. So let's start and really start to enjoy a deep conversation on narcissism and relationship in general.
But as I got older, I started to be more aware of some of the abusive sides of
Hello, good morning, Dr. Bindu. Welcome to the Greatness Engineering Hour show. We are so excited to have you today.
And I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's just because, especially, the subject that we're going to focus on today. It's quite a unique one, and especially right now with all the people being in lockdown, to really know exactly how to tackle some of the relationship and avoid stress and trauma as a result of bad the bad things in some of the relationship. So before we go deep into the subject, I just want you to introduce yourself to the audience, because I know you've been doing amazing things globally, and I just wanted to reserve the to have you introduce yourself instead of me trying to fit everything.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really honored and I'm very excited to be on the show. I am a physician. I'm a medical physician, and I went through my own journey where I realized there was a little bit more than just allopathic medicine. And I read a book by Dr. Brian Weiss, MD, who's a psychiatrist, Many Lives, Many Masters, and that changed my life. I learned that there's so much more than just allopathic. There's a whole holistic side, an energetic side. And that's when I decided to go more deep. I actually met Dr. Brian Weiss. I mean, he's been on Oprah and all sorts of channels of healing. And I was trained by him to become a past life regression therapist. I did my doctorate in natural medicine, my PhD in integrative medicine, and my specialty where my expertise is on narcissism and narcissistic toxic relationship, the healing of those who've been in narcissistic relationships, female and male. And I now work with a lot of basis with empowering women and mindfulness and meditation and limiting beliefs. So I'm a Global Goodwill Ambassador. I work with Female Wave of Change. I was, as Mireille said before, I was awarded New York's Powerful Woman in Business and Entrepreneurship in 2019, last year. And I continue to put myself and dedicate myself in healing and recovery of anybody who needs it. So I do a lot of one-on-one, and that's what I do. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. And like I was saying, is really right now with what's happening in the pandemic, people losing their jobs, and there's a lot of strenuous relationship, and it can be very difficult to handle. But you said that you're specialized in narcissistic relationship. First of all, what is a narcissistic and what is a narcissistic relationship?
So, just to make it into a nutshell, narcissism is a personality disorder. It's a mental personality disorder. And it really stems, I mean, what the foundation is from childhood. And these people who are narcissists are people who really do not have self-love. They are people who need to be validated by somebody else for their self-love. And what happens is, or their even existence, you can say. And these people get into these relationships and they belittle and try to control and pull someone else down, where that feeds their ego. And it becomes so toxic because what they do is they pull the other person down due to their own insecurities. And if you don't listen, it becomes such a toxic situation. And even it's always, so a narcissistic person who always needs to feed their ego, or needs people to validate them, or needs to always be, they're very charming, very, they come out very flamboyant. Everybody would just love them. And you will never even know that these people have this problem, and that's why a lot of, partners fall for this, and there's this huge cycle that this relationship goes into, which has become so toxic, and it's the victim ends up losing their soul. They lose themselves completely.
And that's the problem, is like you said, we can't identify them. So what are the key things, when you meet somebody who is a narcissist and obviously is hiding all of this from the beginning? At which point, do you have any tools or any point of key that we should look into to know, okay, here I think I'm dealing with a narcissist, and I have to be careful?
See, the thing is that what's this is why it's so toxic, or this is why the awareness is not there, is you don't meet a narcissist. First of all, one, they're not aware they're a narcissist. And even if you try to point it out, they will never believe it. Because everything is your fault, right? Two, a narcissistic person is so charming and caring. It's not like they come at you all of a sudden. It's it's what you find that's very recognizable is actually the cycle. So when you meet a narcissist, they come out very charming. They come with the flowers and the chocolates, and they really become like Prince Charming. And it's such a fast relationship. All of a sudden, within 1 week, they'll tell you they love you. You feel that bond. There's like a soulmate pull that you feel it is. And within like a week or two, they'll go, let's move in, let's get married. You're my life. And you feel like you're in cloud nine. You feel like you reached the ultimate person and your ultimate destination, and this person understands everything about you, and it's almost like a dream come true. And this is why it's so difficult to see the other part, because after that first 2-3 months, and it's all of a sudden the slow creeping nature of a narcissist. All of a sudden, let's say let's say it was a male narcissist and you're a female, you're going somewhere, isn't that dress a little too short? Don't you think you're going to get unwanted attention? I think, and you start questioning yourself. And the way the narcissist will come at you is, I'm doing this for you, sweetheart. I don't want you to walk out like that and look like some tramp. And, I'm trying to teach you better. And when you see someone who loves you so much and you hear this, you question yourself and your own identity and your own confidence. And slowly, slowly, it becomes debilitating. Next thing you know, you can't speak to somebody because either you're trying to get their attention. It's all these person's insecurity that comes at you, but planted so slowly that you think something's wrong with you. And this is where you have to recheck yourself. And when you do try to pull back, they'll either come with some story, which is the truth, they went through some childhood issue, either they went through some abuse. I'm sorry, I love you. You are the only one who can understand me. And then you sit there and think, this is true. He loves me. Let me help him. It's okay if I just wear pants from now on, or it's okay now if I don't speak to my friends anymore because I love him more. It's okay if I cut off my family. It's okay if I give up my career. It's okay if I finance him. And it builds and builds, and it's still never enough. And then it becomes severe mental abuse, and at times it goes into physical abuse. And by this time, you're so lost of yourself and dejected, you can't even pull out. And you don't even know you're in this relationship. You think it's normal.
Yeah, because you're completely cut from the real world and cut from people who can actually send you signs to say, okay, that's actually not normal. And it becomes very difficult.
You won't even listen to the signs because you are in belief mentally, this is your problem. They can't understand because look how much he loves me. And look, you have to remember the attention they give you is so addictive. You got the Prince Charming. And then when they pull away, you feel drawn, I need to save this. And this is where you have the walking on eggshells. And narcissists can be so convincing. There's a whole thing of gaslighting, where they'll confuse your mind of incidents that may not even have occurred. It's very tragic, actually. It's very sad. And a lot of men and women do not even know they're in it. They become reclused in themselves. Society dejects them. Culturally, you're dejected because you don't want people to know your business, everything. So you don't reach out. And, this is where physical abuse, mental abuse, suicide, your children, it's very it's terrible. They're looking for help, actually.
Wow. So let's look at, there's quite a lot of people actually listening to us today. So there's Lotus. Lotus is listening from, she is listening from Washington, D.C., so in the U.S. Hey, Lotus, thanks for tuning in. We have Dr. Selena as well. She's here. We have Dana. Dana is here as well. Dr. Selena, living in a normal and unconscious. That's what you were talking about. We have Ida as well. Ida is here from the Netherlands. So quite a lot of people, and because I think it's a unique and subject, and in a way it touch everybody. We've all come across, a friend who've been stuck into a relationship with a narcissistic and not really know how to help them. So that's why, I'm going to ask you this question. How do you get out of it? I mean, you obviously have an addiction, but at some point, is it ending well? How do you make sure it ends well and you get out of this addiction?
So the thing when you're in it, right? And I deal with, my clients, I deal with people, and I myself understand this very clearly. You don't know it's happening. And not only that, you don't want to, okay? Because a whole bunch of red flags that you keep ignoring because you're scared that the other person will leave you. Remember, a lot of times the narcissist attracts a person who's codependent. That means someone who doesn't love themselves enough and feel they're not worthy. So when you have this very charming, handsome person who fits your bill, that gives you this attention, and then tells you you're not worthy, but I'm giving you, you're lucky to have me, it's hard for them to pull out. So there's an actual hormonal, chemical addiction process that actually takes place during this time. So it's chemically you're addicted, fearfully you're addicted, and you don't want to accept it. So how do you pull yourself out of it? Of course, you recognize most of the people who come to me will start understanding, okay, what this is. They Google narcissism, and then they may find me, and then they come to me, and they start first trying to see how they can fix their partner. So, and it's heartwarming because they're trying, right? They're trying for their family. They're trying for their relationship. They're still trying to see the change because remember, these people are damaged people, and you want to fix them because you see their potential. But you can't. You have to accept the fact that one, a narcissist cannot change. They will be who they are because they are in a protective, damaged mode. Two, first understand that you are worthy. You need more. You're deserving. The universe is out there for every day, for your life, not to just waste in this cookie cutter belief structure that you cannot be divorced or you can't have another person in your life or you are not deserving. So one, learning to love yourself again, accepting your situation and pulling yourself out with a lot of healing. That means forgiveness of yourself, forgiveness of the partner, going through a lot of talking it out, getting it out of your system, understanding why did you accept this relationship? Because if you don't understand that and heal from that, you will repeat this pattern. You're going to look for someone else who's going to give you that same, trying to fill your hole. Because we all must understand a relationship with a partner is not meant for someone to come and save you or complete you. A relationship with a partner is somebody who's supposed to complement you. Okay, someone who's supposed to add happiness in your life, someone that you're supposed to share life with, not save you and I'm not deserving and he or she proves that I'm worthy. You must make yourself worthy within you. You must empower you. You must love yourself and be the strength that you truly are and what you desire. And when you become to that point, which is what you have to work on, you must walk out of this relationship and let it go.
Yeah. Wow. So there's a few steps here and they are key. But what I really, understood is that you fix yourself. You can't fix the other person. So it's really your problem to solve. And all the different steps that you went through are actually just the responsibility of us making sure that we reconcile ourselves, with our inner self and start to love ourselves instead of projecting this love to the narcissistic, with using it, to control us and to destroy us in a certain way. So I see some other comments here, especially from Dana, because I think Dana went through that. So you have to help yourself, and that's what you were talking about. Is that it starts with yourself. Try to understand the problem as well, because you don't want to repeat it all the time. And right. And Dana, again, I'm in agreement with you. And Dr. Selena, the grip reaper of the wounded. Yeah, exactly. So it's really, it's really about making sure you know who you are, and you're really happy with who you are. And I see that Lotus is also, each individual is responsible for his own happiness. It's about being well yourself, not searching for someone to put out, pieces together. Yes. And that's what it's all about, is that, you don't try to force people to, get the love from outside. It starts with you, you give it, and then you get it back. And I think that's what we people should understand, because otherwise you attract the wrong people, and it can be fatal in some instances. So let's have a small break, and we're gonna come back and continue this very interesting and deep, conversation about a narcissistic relationship. Okay, so you just released, a book on the subject. So obviously the book is about narcissism, but more focused on the recovery parts. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
So I have my book, and it took me honestly 3 years in and out. And the reason is I wanted to add the clinical, the wisdom, the understanding, the personal experience of understanding what that felt like, as well as the experiences of my client all together, and for everyone to understand, even clinicians as well as the public, not just make a clinical book. So it took me a lot where I had to pull this out and stuff. And so far, I'm hoping that, it's gotten a beautiful response, which I'm very, very grateful for, because to me, that means that mission is out of making people aware. And the healing and recovery, the first step is awareness, right? You have to understand what you're in. You have to understand not only that, you're not alone. Many people who are in this relationship, they think it's so normal because it's such a gradual, debilitating process, that they don't realize that they are in a mental abuse, right? People look at abuse as physical, and mental abuse is the hardest. That's why when you have that kind of hurt and pain, the wound is inside. You have to heal from inside. So first is awareness. We talk about it. That's what the first part of the book is. And then is acceptance, knowing these key points that, oh my God, this cycle is verbatim. Like this cycle, the cycle of narcissistic relationship, the whole love bombing, devaluing, and discard, these three things, that cycle that keeps going back and round, is so verbatim that anybody who's in this relationship will look at it like this and be like, my gosh, and I'm not the only one. And there's a book that's written about it. So that's where acceptance will come. And when acceptance comes, then you go through this whole situation of how to heal this narcissist, but then you realize you can't, because you can't heal something that people do not believe there's anything wrong with them, right? I can only heal something if I see a cut. If I see a cut and I'm like, I don't have a cut, and this cut is because of you, and I don't need to fix it, they're not going to be fixed. So you come to that point where you're like, okay, I need to let this be. And now you have to understand why. Because there's a lot of betrayal. There's a lot of, you invested so much time into the relationship and you invested so much of your energy that you're angry. You're angry because you've done so much for somebody and they don't care, they don't appreciate, there's no gratitude, they don't change. And you kind of have to get over that anger and forgive yourself, heal. You must meditate. I know people don't understand so much about meditation, but that is a whole different science alone. When you meditate, you heal your inner self. You become stronger with your consciousness. And you also have a whole science of epigenetics where you're healing each one of your cells with positive energy and removing disease. People don't understand how much energy it is when you invest with that kind of negativity, how much bitterness that you grow, or how much temper that only hurts you. It doesn't hurt the other person, right? No matter how much you throw on somebody, you're the one angry. You're missing your moments of happiness. You're missing your moments of gratitude that's around you in the world. This is your life. Don't get your power back of who you are. Go through meditation, go through energy work, go through healing, go through understandings and heal within, and then you become so powerful that you move on with the new wisdom and wise you. But you must take that effort to do so.
Wow, that's just so powerful and so so deep as well, because you're talking about to heal ourselves from inside, and I think that's what we don't do. We try to solve it from the outside, but yet we have to really go deep inside of us. And you talked about the meditation, which is a very good a very good things to do, and to get to know ourselves, and to get to really get in contact with the deeper, the good and the bad that we have inside of us, and then try to extract this bad energy. And I like the fact that you're talking about, it's an energy thing. And then, because sometimes we don't see it that way, it's an energy thing, and our emotions are the one that are actually going to kill us, and not what the perpetrator is doing to us. Mm-hmm. So we must be very strong and understand how to manage those emotions and bring the right ones that are not going to harm us. And again, I think the comment box is on fire today. We have so many. So that's Dr. Selena again. Thank you, Dr. Babu, for sharing the insight and knowledge. And then I think that's Dana. I need to see you, doctor, because she went through an abusive. I mean, she has her own story. She's gonna be on the show and share this story. And Lotus is like, oh my God, it's getting hot, super powerful show. Thank you, Lotus. Yes, it's good that you all, you all can relate and, understand that, those information are very, very, very important. And that's really good. So, just to continue. So when you've done that, you've gone through all the steps. So what's next? Because then you need to deal with, you obviously gonna get in contact with other people. And how do you get this confidence to get into another relationship again? Because that's the key.
Well, so when you do your inner healing, right? Mm-hmm. And you understand, and this is something, I'm glad you brought that, because, many people sit there and say, well, now you went through something, be aware, right? Like, if you touch fire, right, be scared now. Don't touch fire again. You know it. So now you're looking to see where this fire is. But what I'm saying, or put your guard up. Why do we need a guard? If you're healed within yourself and you understand it, you don't think that you're not going to smell something negative 5 miles away? Of course you are. You felt it. You've been through it, right? Like when you see fire now and you touched it before, you felt that burn, you're going to sense fire anywhere. You don't have to sit there and focus like, oh, I have to be careful. I have to be my guard. No, recognize the fire, right? Recognize the red flags that fly into you when you talk to somebody. If you're a male and you're talking to a female narcissist and you sit down, you're going to sense it because you've been through it, right? And you know what? If you, let's say it's your first date and you're having dinner and you're talking to your female narcissist and then you sense it, have a nice dinner, say, nice talking to you, you seem charming, and goodbye. There's nothing to worry after that. You should not be scared because you are confident within you to know who you are. Yes, you've been betrayed. Yes, you've been let down. Yes, you've been hurt. But remember, you allowed a lot of this because of the person you are and how good you are, right? You saw somebody's potential and you believed in them. That's because you're a good person, right? Continue being a good person, be who you are, but now understand that there's certain things it's not your job to fix, and it's not your job to take this upon yourself in your life because it's not worth it. It's not like you're having a broken arm and you put that in a cast and it's going to be okay. This is different. This is a mental disorder, and this is how people function, and this is why people have these coping mechanisms for whatever reason they went through in their childhood. But that's not your responsibility, and you just kind of have to let it go and be you, be the authentic you. Many people come up to me and they say, oh, you're so nice, you're going to get taken over, and it could be weak. That's not my problem if you take my kindness as weakness. Mm-hmm. I am very strong within who I am. I know how to set my boundaries, and I know when to say no and when to be not or say yes. That doesn't make me that I need to put a guard or fear. Take in your red flags, recognize your next relationship, and be the authentic you and live your life in the maximum. Be free with who you are. Heal.
Well, I like this, be free with who you are, because sometimes we just want to, when we go into relationship, we really want to fix somebody or, get something from somebody. But if we feel complete, we don't need to prove anything. We don't need to prove everything. We just be. And I really like that. I really liked what you're saying, is that you have to be free, to be you. Because if you can't, then you can't actually bring something positive in the relationship or get anything positive. And that's how you end up in this situation. But one thing that I wanted to ask you, yes, you can fix yourself. Yes, you can get out of the relationship. But if you have children with this person who is narcissistic, how do you deal with that? Because not only the repercussion on the children, but also how do you really cut yourself from this person? Because then you have children with the person.
Right. So the number one thing of getting out of the relationship, first off, is no contact in general. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. That means get off the social medias. You don't need to check and see whereabouts. You remember, you're in addiction. So you're going to itch to see what that person's doing. You're going to make other accounts to see what they're doing on Facebook, Instagram. You're going to try to talk to someone they know. You must do complete discipline because it's an addiction. Remember, 21 days to kick a habit. It literally is a habit. And that means social media, getting rid of all friends that are correlated. You have to make that sacrifice. You don't need to have that many friends who are mixed together because you really don't want this. You need to get rid of the addiction and the hurt and pain. You need to heal. So get rid of the friends, stop talking to family members, the partner's family members. You need to completely disconnect everything. Now, when you have children, I know many people tell me this is difficult, and it is difficult, but this is where you have to understand this is about you, and you have to be in your ultimate best for your children, not sacrifice yourself for your children. And that's a very hard thing for people to wrap their head around. And what I mean by that is not sacrificing our time for our children or, making extra food for our children. Of course, those are our kids. We have to sacrifice our needs for our kids. But I'm talking about if you have a narcissistic partner, they will use the children against you, and they will constantly try to trigger you to get into that spin. Or they will trigger you to bring you back into the relationship because they need you to step on you for their egotistical supply, the narcissistic supply. So you have to give up the birthday parties together. You have to give up the sports meets together. You have to give up you and your child at their school play, or it's the partner and the child at the school play. There is no hurts and pain here if you do not attend for your child, because it's better that your child doesn't see the negative unhappiness of you and a traumatic situation between you and your ex-partner. It's not good for them at their happy event. You can always take them out for ice cream after you, until the point where you are completely healed and you know you will not get triggered. So in the beginning, cut yourself off completely. It's called parallel parenting. It's in my book detailed. It's a very huge subject of how to do it, the legality behind it, and so forth. And get my book and you'll understand that it will really do help you, because it's very tough.
And that's the hard part, especially for us women, for us mothers, because we almost do everything for our kids, and we don't realize that if we're not okay, we're not helping the kids. So we have to make sure that we put ourselves first and really, come up with our best us, so that we can give them the best. Otherwise, they just don't get anything, and they lose on all parts, from the dad or the mom who is a narcissistic, and then the person who is trying to sacrifice herself and not really being free, and that's not really good, and that's wow. I'm learning so much today. It's just crazy. So, and we have Dana. I have no contact. I'm planning on doing a parental planning application where it's public. So she's been in this situation, and she agreed that you have to cut yourself completely, especially if you're not fully ill. And that's and then Lotus is saying they will blame you for the children not having both parents, and they will use money or any tool to bend you into submission. And that's because it's actually a power game. It's a power game. You are there in a way their property, and they always have to try to bring you back where they can manage you and where they can control you. Wow, that's just amazing. So we have as well Amare. You have to detox, to detox your mind from intoxicating thoughts. That's contribute to a toxic life. Yes. So because like you said, it's an addiction. So we need to detox completely, and to get over this addiction, and then start new again. So let's have a break, because there's a lot of lots of emotion, lots of things that is being done, and then we'll come back. So those joining us today, our guest is Dr. Bindu Babu, and she's educating us about narcissistic relationship, and it's been amazing so far. And I hope that you have your notepads and your pen, and you writing it, and hopefully if you are not in a toxic relationship, you can help somebody around you in your community, because you have the knowledge, and you can go and help them before they get specialized support. So let's have this break and come back.
I'm alive again. Like I'm alive again. Oh, 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 oh. I'm a dream, I die by light of day. I'm gonna hold up the sky and say we are all meant. I feel my heart beating. I feel my heart underneath my skin. I feel.
So we are back with Dr. Bindu, and as you can see, she's wonderful. She's a powerhouse, and she has been she's been the New York most powerful woman in business, and which lead me to ask you this question: how do you handle narcissistic people in business and in a professional environment? Because we've obviously focus everything on, intimate relationship, but how do you deal with it in a professional environment?
So you'd be surprised. Most of the CEOs or most people who they're very, remember something, they're very charming, very smart, and very aggressive. So a lot of the big time CEOs or well-established people are narcissists, right? So it's handling them in business. Yes, they try to belittle you, but at the same time, they're so charming. They need the validation with their, partners or other. Their issue is never there. It's only when you do businesses, but when it's an employee and a manager position or a CEO with an employee who is in a lower position than them, then it becomes a problem because they try to control you. And if you're doing a little bit too good, they try to pull you down, because they have to be on top of it. But in generally, it's always like management positions where they don't want someone to ever be a threat in their intelligence or in their shine or in their package. And then what happens is it's very difficult to work under a narcissistic boss. You're always going to be belittled. You end up thinking that you're not good or qualified in the position you have to do. You just can't, you can try to manage and detach and because you don't live with the person and they're not an asset as in romantically relationship. So it's not as emotional, but it's detaching and understanding, okay, this person has this issue and they're not important to me, and focusing on your position and how to move forward. But I would always say, I think most people, 8 hours of your life or 9 hours of your life is at your job every day. It's between your job or your bed, right? And do you really want to put yourself in a position where you're so miserable under a boss that is a narcissist? Do you want to live in that life? Is it that important? So put it out into the universe that you can get a different job or you can get a different and work, come out of your comfort zone and find another position that makes you in a happier place, because this is your life,
And sometimes it's difficult to do. And we've seen people, staying and, feeling really victims and not trying to get out and destroying themselves in a way, because like you said, they spend so much time in the office, but yet if you're not happy, then, it's the destruction of yourself. And you need to think, do I want to take a risk to go and try something else? Or am I going to be a victim all my life? And it is a very difficult decision to take. And a lot of people don't actually step out because, they, especially, with what's happening right now, when the economy is very, very wobbly, and they think that there's no opportunity, but there's always, opportunities. It's difficult, and people are dying inside, and they don't really, want to take any risk, because the little that they have, they don't want to lose it. But yet, the little that they have is killing them. They can actually get something else, even if it means that for a short period of time, they're going to be challenged. But they're always going to be, at the end of the day, it's better for them to live, like you said, because you can't actually fix a narcissist. No. So you have to get out, and that's very important.
Well,
wow, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, the thing is, it's your limiting beliefs, like you said, right? Mm-hmm. But if you really think about it, in today's age and world, I mean, you don't need to do something drastic and leave your job. Mm-hmm. You can go on LinkedIn, or you can go and start networking, or start mm-hmm. putting your resume, see what comes your way. It's coming out of your comfort zone to do mm-hmm. that. Mm-hmm, no decisions are made yet that you must leave and get rid of your security, mm-hmm. But trying and putting yourself out there and putting that energy out there, take that leap,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I like this term, take the leap, because it's really it's a step. It doesn't have to be a big one, but at least make a step, and try to find, a way to focus your attention on something else, instead of the person bullying you or belittling you. So again, let's go to our audience. It's so Lotus here. Lotus is very active. Please tap your heart and thumb up. Let's raise the analytic on this topic. I think you're gonna end up on Lotus also have a show, so you're gonna end up on her show. I think she's just excited here. This is also a problem, because even when you try to dim your light so that they can shine, it's still not enough for the narcissistic. You're always below them. You must be careful in this situation. Absolutely. Don't dim your light to serve their need. And again, I think it's about us being very confident, and us understanding that we are enough in a way. And whatever this person is trying to do, it's not going to disturb us in any way. And what we can do. And we have some newcomers as well. So Florence, welcome, Florence. She's watching from Burundi. And yes, she's really also enjoying it. So just because it's gone so fast, and I know there's a lot on this subject. What I really wanted to know is that you've written this book, and what's next, with that, because you've done quite a lot of studies already, and and so what next that you can do to help and to raise awareness of this subject, because we see, especially right now, the violence against women a lot. I mean, I'm going to start a series of femicide that's happening in South Africa, where the women get killed and things like that. So just wanted to know how, I mean, what's next for you to keep helping?
The biggest thing is awareness, and I think one of the profound thing what's happening in all communities and all cultures and all countries is most of these women or men who are suffering, they're silent. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, you won't believe how many people just follow, but they don't want their personal life out there. They don't want the laundry outside. And what happens is people don't understand that this doesn't just happen to low socioeconomic people, or there's no category. You have very educated CEO women, or financially independent and strong people who go through this, and they don't want their personal life to be out there when they're having such a successful and huge career. There's people who support wives of great politicians, or wives of CEOs, or police officers, or it's so difficult for them to open up or even accept. And then the cultural bias, right? You don't want people think or you don't want to feel your family is broken if you leave. Or even as a woman, right? We're taught and culturally to be nurturing, to keep the family together, and to sacrifice yourself for your family, for your children. And you must come out of that thinking, because it's not helping your children. It's not helping anybody. And even when we discussed about no contact is not just only protecting yourself, it's also coming out of your own behavior. Because let's be honest and real. When you talk to your ex again and they trigger you, the first thing you want to do is bash them back, right? You're going to go back into that whole cycle. Let me see how he's going to get me or she's going to get me. Let me get him back. So my biggest next project is awareness. And then I want to train people in my studies, especially clinicians, to understand how to handle and help these men and women. An example would be, now today, I guess because of the political climate or whatever is going on, narcissism is huge. Like if you Google narcissist, there's about 100 Facebook groups, all sorts of different people that may be running this, and I'm sorry to say, by people who may not be qualified, right? People who are angry, bitter women, bitter men. And if you see it, it's like a cult, and it's a cult of a ball of negative energy, because there's no healing. And I have seen some clinicians who may not have this experience, or may just know the textbook of what we learn in school. I mean, I learned it as a medical doctor. I didn't learn it as a psychiatrist, right? And what I've learned, and they're putting it out there, and one of the methods of what women should do is gray rocking. And that means if you're dealing with your narcissist, you should turn yourself into a gray rock and be emotionless and do not respond. And hopefully they will go away. And this is implemented by so many clinicians to tell their clients or tell the abuse victim to become a gray rock, a lifeless, dull. This is the exact scientific textbook terminology. And can you imagine teaching someone to—
There's no way you're gonna do that. I mean, it's just you're dying. Yeah.
You become, first of all, as it is, you feel like garbage. And now you feel you have to become more of a dull. What is that? Yes, to prevent the abuse, but is that healing? Is that that's horrible. And I wrote that in my book. I said, please do not tell your clients to gray rock. Don't do, if you Google gray rocking, it's like I said, that's horrible. It's psychologically debilitating. It doesn't solve the problem. And guess what? You're still feeding the narcissistic ego, because they know your personality. All of a sudden you're quiet. They're controlling you, right? So you solve nothing. And these are things that I want to bring awareness. So my next step is I do want to start an organization. I do want to do podcasting. I haven't done that. It's, I am a single mother of 4 children. I raised them on my own. I was in a toxic relationship years ago. So I understand and built myself to be who I am as a stand of, if I can do it, you can do it. All the women out there. So I do have an expanse like that, and I do want to network and get everyone on board, and let's do some work, sustainable change,
Wow. Yes, sustainable change, because it's quite a serious, it's a serious thing, because that's it's actually the basis of any society. If you're not, healthy in your head, I mean, how can you be a good citizen and really bring, good things into society and humanity? So it's really something that we need to tackle, and people needs to be aware and trained by the right people. And I think it's also important that people training have the knowledge of it, went through it, because you can't just have, the academic and think that you are an expert. You need to be able to have those experiences, and it actually, it's more meaningful for people going through it, because they know that you went through it, and then you basically made sure that you recover from it.
Right.
So then there's already trust, built already from the beginning, and then you can help them, and that's very important. So yes, it's been amazing. Those are the kind of subject we don't talk about, and yet it's needed right now. It's needed with the world in which we are living. There's relationship are stressed. People are being tear off. It's just crazy. And like I was telling you, I mean, there's a femicide happening in South Africa. I mean, women are killed, they are hanged, and so I'm going to start as well a series to bring some women to explain what's happening, because, like you said, the silence is just too deep. We need to start having, those being victim and who survive, because some of them didn't survive, to come and bring this testimony to the world, so that people know what they go through, and then they can be directed to the right people to help them, and also help their children, because what's happening is that sometimes it's a generational thing. Like you said, you're not healed, and then you pass it on to your children, and then they go into domestic violence or meet narcissistic, because that's the only thing they know, and they've not been told otherwise. So thank you, Dr. Bindu, to be on the Greatness Engineering Hour platform. It's really been an amazing session. And I know that the audience really enjoyed it, and they've been part of the conversation, obviously, and they're gonna go with all this knowledge, and obviously, and I hope that they're gonna share and help anybody that they have in their environment who is suffering in silence, and help them to get out of this toxic relationship. Just before we leave, how can people contact you, and if they want to continue the conversation, or just get to know a little bit more, or get help from you, because obviously you have the expertise in the subject?
I do a lot of one-on-one coaching, and I do workshops, and I speak everywhere. And the best way to reach me is through my website. It's www.bindubabu.com. You can email me, drbindubabu.com. My Instagram is Dr. Bindu Babu. My Facebook is Dr. Bindu Babu. Twitter is Dr. Bindu Babu. You can Google me and connect with me, and we can do a discovery session, and let's get you healed, because we have to heal inside, and, live the life you desire, live the maximum of who you are, empower yourself, and this will empower others around you, right? First thing is, you're not alone.
Yeah. And that's the thing to remind, all the victims, you're not alone. Stop being silent, and, reach out. There are people available. There are people around who can help you. If they can directly help you, they can actually direct you to somebody who has the expertise and can help. Because you have, to become the best you have to be confident. You have to be free. You have to be authentic, because otherwise you can't really, engineer greatness yourself, in your environment, in your family, in your community. And it will be a shame, because you have gift, and you're not just somebody else victim. You are an individual who can make a difference in the life of others, and it's really important to understand that. So thank you so much, Dr. Bindu, again, for for all the knowledge and all the inspiration and the hope as well, because I think it gives hope to certain people who actually feel completely completely desperate and don't know where to go. And so it's important that they get this hope to be able to get out of this comfort zone, what they call the discomfort zone, but get out and then get the help, and then get to thrive when they get healed and when they recover. So thank you very much. And I want to thank, everybody that's been, been here to participate, during the Greatness Engineering Hour that we had. It was really greatness today. and lots of really good knowledge. So make sure you connect with Dr. Bindu if you want to know more about the subject. And she's also, involved in humanitarian work as well. So she's doing some very, very, very good things. And then she's a businesswoman as well. So make sure you connect with her and you get to know, all the good work that she's doing. Thank you, everybody. We have another show on Monday. And on Monday, again, it's going to be a very interesting subject because we're going to have Sherry Heme. Sherry she's a well-renowned near-death survivor. So she survived death and she went, all the way and had to come back. So it's going to be an interesting discussion again on Monday. And she's also involved in technology, so she will, expand on the different aspects of near death, and also how it linked to some of the, the physical and the physics of the world. So it's gonna be very very interesting, something that I don't know. So I'm gonna learn again a lot. So for those who actually still, don't know who I am, so I'm Mireille Toulekema. I'm hosting this platform, and these are my contacts. So my email, my website, and then I'm on all the social media platform. And I'm going to be starting a series on, like I said, gender-based violence. So to have deep conversation with some of the women who are at the front. So we're going to start with South Africa because that's where, that's the case that I know really well, is really going badly there. So I really want to bring those women and help them to get the exposure and to explain what's going on, because it looks like, it's not coming out. So I'm going to start on Tuesday. We're going to have an expert as well who is fighting this femicide on the ground in South Africa. So that's all we have for today. And I hope that, everybody's going to come back on Monday and have this amazing and intriguing discussion with Sherry on near death and the correlation with physics and technology. So thank you very much. And I see you all. Have a good weekend, and I see you all on Monday.